I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space. My intention here with the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck is to offer support to grieve the mother you want so you can accept the one you have. Hi, I'm Tammy Taylor, the inventor and reader of the Great Mother Speaks Oracle deck. Anyone can become a reader. You can receive the readings obviously here, but also at greatmotherspeaks.info where my coaching work is displayed there. I specialize in mama drama trauma, a condition in which the mother projects unhealed aspects of herself onto her child, causing emotional and or physical trauma. In cases where she's unable, unwilling, or unavailable, sometimes she has simply transitioned to heal her own MDT. It is a cycle. Then loving detachment is required. Loving detachment is accepting what is, the mother that we have. So these readings, the intention is all about working with Great Mother lunar energy, the Holy Spirit, that still small voice, our intuition, our soul downloads, that balsamic moon that comes right before the new moon, working with that sense of ourselves, that spirit before we came into form, that made that soul contract with that soul that loves us enough to assist us in MDT's purpose. What is the purpose of having mama drama trauma? To evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. Now, grieving, now that is the process of letting go, is the process of releasing the toxic emotions in MDT of shame, blame, and guilt that perpetuated generation after generation. So that's my intention, is to support individuals in releasing those emotions in order for us to embrace our divinity identity. And if you've been listening and watching for a while, you know that in my coaching work here and individually, we work on our divinity, which is claiming we are dearly loved children of the great Mother, Father, God, who are never judged, condemned, or left alone. We're never judged or condemned. There are consequences for our actions. We do live in the physical realm. There are consequences. Good. We can perceive them as good. We can perceive them as bad. But karma is simply action. And for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, but never judgment or condemnation. We are here to evolve. And with MDT, that's evolving in self-love and spiritual independence. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon is about cultivating clear boundaries. Now that sounds strange with Piscean energy, and its ruler planet in the western of Neptune right there in Pisces. But it's about that because of that very reason. You know, we have a lot going on with Mercury in Pisces as well. So the communicative downloads from high up are really wanting us to be clear on what is and is not important to you moving forward in your healing process. What is and is not okay with you in a life beyond MDT. There is life beyond MDT. I'm a witness. I have clients who are witnesses. There is life beyond mama drama trauma. And so what is and what is not okay with you now in that life you envision beyond MDT? Great Mother in this new moon wants you to be clear about what you are willing and able to give to relationships and situations in the next phase of your life. And so right now we are finally closing out an era of a nodal season, entering a new one, and that energy finally feels like a door is opening up. And so we're all in this kind of phase of anticipation. And as we are anticipating, Great Mother wants us to get in touch within and be clear about what we are willing and able to give to relationships and situations as we transition into this new phase. She wants us to do this by assessing the value. Assess your own value of your gifts, talents, abilities, time, space, and attention you give to things, and how you expend or use your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities. These are the unseen. These are the spiritual. These are the non-material resources that create all things. This is the Great Mother energy. She wants you to look and value your resources, your gifts, talents, abilities, your time, your space, your attention. How are you using them? How are you expending them to be healthy, happy, and whole? How are you using your resources to embrace your birthright? Remember, you can have $100, you can have $1,000, you can have $1,000,000, but if you don't put it to use, even if it's just to earn interest, it is as if you don't have it at all. So evaluation and inventorying all of this is supported with the energies of this new moon, as Great Mother brings a more balanced sense of self through this process, while Great Father activates our birthright to experience divinity as members of humanity. Remember, new moons, both the sun and the moon are in the same sign. And so we have this Aquarius Pisces energy that's really supporting a more balanced sense of self, a more real sized, a more real time sense of self with that Great Father, that solar, that material sense of ourselves to be activated in a life of health, happiness, and wholeness as part of humanity, owning that divinity identity as a living being in the world. So this Aquarius Pisces new moon kicks off a buildup until the July 2nd total solar eclipse. This is the beginning of that phase that builds up to that climactic total solar eclipse we have on July 2nd. So from now, with the Western Earth egocentric emotional moon in Pisces and Aquarius, the Vedic soul sign, and which precedes your Western moon sign by 24 degrees and is cosmologically correct based on the actual location of the stars in the sky and on the moon. Vedic astrology, Jyotish astrology, sidereal astrology is a lunar astrology. This Aquarius new moon is in the nakshatra of Shatabisha. It means 100 doctors. So we're talking about transitioning into conscious healing. It is in the beautiful stellar constellation that is also named 1,000 stars. It's kind of cloudy, It's so abundant with stars. And it's also called 1,000 flowers. It's a very beautiful constellation. It deals with healing. It deals with the challenges of healing. It deals with individuals who can heal, that are born under this nakshatra, that have challenges with cloudiness, placing boundaries, between themselves and others, internally and externally. Maybe some of those things that come up in your spread. But since November, your Vedic and Western moon signs have shared the same nodal or evolutionary houses when the nodal shift from Leo Aquarius to Cancer Capricorn in Western astrology aligned with Rahu and Ketu in the Vedic. So since November, we have shared the same nodes. However, this new moon marks Rahu and Ketu's entry into Gemini Sagittarius, the preceding house signaling the soul's intent to dive deeper into the emotional processing that it has been doing over the last 18 to 24 months and is ready to live by, through us, as us. So since November, we've actually had our nodes sharing the same energy, but now at this new moon, the Vedic has shifted to Gemini North Node. So this new spiritual foundation is fertile. Great Mother's guidance, this reading, therefore, supports the planting of seeds from this emotional harvest that are good, strong, and resilient enough to do the deep evolutionary work of this nodal season. Whatever we plant will surely grow. So we want to be really clear about what we are planting. So now into July, these readings will specifically support your process of reducing, abbreviating, and digesting your identification with MDT as a way of life. The critical 29-degree marker signals birth of what the soul has been processing over the last 22 months or so in your Vedic moon, with Jupiter at 29 degrees in Scorpio and Pluto at 29 degrees in Sagittarius. Emotionally, in the Western astrology, Mercury is in Pisces 29 degrees. It will be moving into Aries soon, very soon, but we have Uranus also 29 degrees at the onset of this new moon. That is, by the end of the new moon, will be in Taurus, where it will remain until 2020. So since your moon is cosmically syncing or ego soul aligning, it's best to approach this new moon as an extended balsamic moon phase for the entire lunar cycle. As far as MDT is concerned, plant wishes that seed your intention to consciously and completely release, remove, and withdraw from MDT identity, the shame, the blame, the guilt. Because following the July 2nd total eclipse, the cosmic calculus points to increased support to experience our divinity identity. So now is the time to consciously develop our abilities to distill our intentions for our personal benefit moving forward. Okay, so this is the contraction and extraction happening in 2019 I spoke of at the January eclipses, and will return to as we arrive at pivotal points throughout the year. The contraction is all about the lessening, the clarification that we're going through right now to just really distill those intentions, really get clear about our gifts, talents, and abilities, and how we want to use them and interact internally with ourselves as we relate to those things and how we evaluate them, and then with the world. And the extraction after July 2nd, the second half of the year, really benefiting from the work that we've done the earlier part of this year to move forward in the big 2020, lots in 2020. And so 2019 is the contraction extraction preparation period. Now, as this newly tilled soil lies fallow for this lunar cycle, we are integrating emotional information from the past with the help of Venus in Aquarius and Mars and Taurus in the Western. So simultaneously, we're taking a beat to contract essential intuitive wisdom with the support of these same signs in Aquarius and Aries in the Vedic. You know, there's some go between there, but energetically, we have, all of this fallow soil that is coming at the end and the beginning of the wheel here. So let's look at how this may be playing out for you this March, Aquarius, Pisces, new moon on the 6th, 7th. Well, hello, my Leo, Virgo moon sign people. This new moon is 7th house energy for you. This is directly dealing with the MDT soul contract. As we know, 7th house is our personal, professional relationships. It has to do with contracts, agreements that we sign with others, and the energy that we bring to those agreements based on the house that holds those planets for you, usually from the ascendant, but of course here when we're speaking about the lunar energies, the Great Mother speaks through the lunar frequencies that are active through our moon signs. And so of course the emotional and the intuitive with the Vedic, but we also are looking particularly when we're downloading information at the frequency of the sign the moon is in at the time. And so we're talking about Aquarius, Pisces energy in your 7th house from your Leo, Virgo moon. You want to check the links below to verify your Western and Vedic moon signs, because you may be Virgo in both. You want to watch which video resonates with you. People watch them for their sun and ascendant as well. Since Vedic astrology is all lunar based, it's quite useful to get familiar with the the energies that your soul is operating with and from. Great Mother is showing in your significator card, the Birth Mother card. And so this is confirmation that for this particular new moon phase, it is a very powerful one. As Great Mother has suggested, we take advantage of this lunar cycle to extend the balsamic energy. We have a crescent root chakra moon card. Crescent moon energy is the planting season. And so what she is suggesting for your inner work this lunar cycle, Leo, Virgo, moon sign people, is to really focus on the inner work around accepting, acknowledging, and admitting that there is a degree of abandonment and abuse that you have not dealt with or recognized thus far. It's imperative that we take this first step of acknowledging MDT, because from this perspective that Great Mother is speaking to us in, so much love and so much compassion, it allows us to appreciate on a soul level that we have agreed with another soul that loves us dearly to evolve in self-love and spiritual independence. Although it is a painful experience from an egoic perspective to be ignored, to be neglected, to be rejected in many cases with regard to our maternal relationship. Root chakra energy is all about the soul learning how to ground itself in itself. And in order to do that, we do have to have the assistance of a soul that will not provide us that kind of grounding within a lifetime, if that makes sense to you. We have to have a soul that's willing to witness and to contribute to our loss of that kind of attachment to another soul at this very base fundamental level of a mother. That is the soulmate agreement. So our birth mother is a soulmate that is assisting us in this evolution, and Great Mother wants you to recognize that through this 7th house lunar energy right now. Now, as we said, this Pisces Aquarius energy is conjunct Mercury retrograde on the day of this new moon. And so this is an additional invitation to reflect on this, to really sit with it and really work with this truth in your life at this particular time, because the truth sets us free. Mercury rules Gemini and Libra. And when we're talking about chakras, we're talking about Vedic astrology. And so what also happens on this new moon is that the nodal shift happens in Vedic astrology. On that day, the North Node moves from Cancer into Gemini in precession of that sign. So this is indicating that with this Mercury retrograde and this mercurial energy kind of moving back in this regressionary type of phase from the maternal Cancer, the moon rules Cancer, to the mercurial kind of energy that is this Geminian energy, it's going to speed up your ability to integrate what your soul has learned on an intuitive, what you have learned on an intuitive level from your soul experiencing Cancer Capricorn for the past 18 months. In other words, again, the Vedic astrology has already been in Cancer Capricorn. It has just shared this nodal positioning with us since November. But as usual, after the 6-degree shift, there is a they are disconjoined. You know, the signs are disconjoined because of the perspective from the planets and that sort of thing. And this is that time, this Aquarius Pisces new moon. And so you're getting an extra oomph, is the point, to support you in acknowledging your MDT at this particular time. If you're feeling like this is something I can't do, I'm not ready, I don't know how I ended up on this channel, that kind of thing, it's because Great Mother's coming to you and she's saying that emotionally, since
we are in the Western astrology just since November entered our Cancer Capricorn phase for the next 18 months, where eclipses and everything will be based on those nodes, dealing with maternal issues, letting go of how we've dealt with feeling at home in our bodies, feeling at home in our lives, how we've run our lives, how we've run our relationships, the seventh house energy. It's worth taking note. Okay, it's worth taking note. At this particular time. Let's see what's bringing this up for you. What's bringing this up for you is Sulis, and all is well. All is well as you do this acknowledgement work. That's what's bringing it up for you. Your soul is ready to align this truth with you on a conscious level. The Sulis card is when Dorothy and the three go before Oz's throne and ask their wishes, not realizing they already have everything that they're wishing for. It just takes sometimes that great father energy, that doing, that experiential aspect of life in order for us to come into realization of what our true beingness is as divine children of the great mother, father, God. We don't just believe that because the illusion is so strong. And Oz does create a wonderful illusion, doesn't he, in this physical world? And we love it, which is why we love to come and have these human experiences lifetime after lifetime. Some of us do, some of us don't. But the heart chakra here is definitely an indication that your soul is really at a point of at least strength of being able to acknowledge the soulmate agreement. And the crossroads between the ego and the soul, that heart chakra, oftentimes we see that arrow through it because it can be a painful process, depending on our attitude and our approach. And remember, Dorothy and the three were very resilient and forever optimistic. And so this is showing a very optimistic energy from your soul. Now, you are Virgo moon in the Western with Leo moon in the Vedic, ruled by the sun. So this is full moon energy, that sun that is shining the truth that all is well. Go forward with your acknowledgement of MDT and see what awaits you, because in your shadow position is integrity. Many of you already know the truth of this situation. This is a balsamic moon card, the resting, the relaxation, the recuperation, the kind of reflecting card. And you're reflecting on what your truth is about MDT. You're reflecting on how that truth makes sense to you. In this scene, we see Dorothy is being greeted by all of the people at the farm when she returns. Oz, who is Professor Gulch, and we have, the Scarecrow, Zeke, etc., who are there at her side, and Aunt Em at the side of the bed, but she's pointing. We have the heart chakra here as well. This is the heart chakra balsamic moon card. From her heart, she's pointing. The heart and the hand are connected. We work our hands from what is truly in our hearts. And she's pointing and she's saying, you were there true. And that's her truth. Her truth is recognizing what may or may not be obvious. And what may not be obvious to them on this side of the veil, in other words, what may not be obvious to your mother, to your siblings, to your family, that there is a soul contract of mama drama trauma, is obvious to you. And you are pointing that out in the shadows. You may not be consciously aware of it, but within yourself, you're working out the details of exactly what does this mean for me to embrace this truth at this time. I know others around me may not be in this place. My mother, in fact, is unwilling, unable, and unavailable to heal her own MDT. And so what does this mean for me as I embrace this MDT in your shadow position? Integrity is telling ourselves the truth. What you want is to be rewarded for your work, and you want to be recognized for the journey that you've taken up to this point. The third eye is ruled by the moon. It is Cancer, and the primordial father energy is that Oz energy that does give us rewards, oftentimes unexpected for our journey, just as the three received the clock, the medal, and the diploma, things that they were not expecting to receive. They were actually wanting a physical heart, perhaps wanting a physical brain. And there's always a way that what we really, really need comes to us to confirm what we already have. And so although there may be some things that you want and you have a particular expectation of how those things will be fulfilled. What is assisting you in getting those fulfilled is Ishel, the Mayan goddess of fertility. And Ishel is all about self-creation now. She also rules lunar cycles, and she rules rainbows and beautiful things that have to do with perpetuating life in the physical realm from a feminine perspective. This is the Ankh chakra, the second chakra, and the waxing gibbous moon phase. That's all about the revision, the editing that's needed to get what we want organized or clarified before we move into the full moon phase. And so at this particular time, you may not be aware, Leo, Virgo moon sign people, that all is well. But by the full moon, the phase just before building up, as you revise what your reward expectations may be based on your experiences at that time, a lot is going to happen between now and then planetarily. You want to be sure that you are creating from a sense of empowerment as opposed to reacting in a sense of victimhood. And I'm pretty sure you're going to be doing that because these are the energies that are assisting you. This is a clarification from Great Mother as a message for you to trust that, because the second chakra is ruled by Jupiter. And right now, Jupiter is in your fourth house. And so the fourth house is mother, it's traditionally Cancer, and it is an energy that has to do with feeling at home, being grounded, having that foundation. And so we tend to limit our sense of security, our sense of self, based on our birth mother and our relationship with her. But as we expand our understanding of our divinity and the infinite sources of unconditional love, nurturance, compassion, and guidance, we begin to create from a more expanded perspective as well and open ourselves for increased bounty as well. Now, your present state of ego-soul alignment is Kuan Yin. You are growing in more self-compassion. You are realizing that if there's any love that you're going to receive on the daily basis that you need unconditionally, it has to begin with you. And you're beginning to do that for yourself. Great Mother is acknowledging that with this Crescent Moon Heart Chakra card. You have a lot of heart energy. The heart chakra is ruled by Venus, which rules Taurus and Libra. And so we want to be sure that as the month progresses and in the next few days, as Uranus does make its final stop in Taurus until 2022, that this energy for you is opening up a space for greater self-compassion. It might be a change from how you've been the last 7 years. It will be conjunct Mars in Aries, Taurus, Aries in the sidereal. And for you, this is definitely ninth house energy. This is spiritual energy. This is inner long distance travel, perhaps astral travel when we're talking about inner work. We're not talking about physical long distance travel, although you may have some of that coming up for you. Here specifically, we're talking about the inner work, the inner journey, and so you will probably become more of your own spiritual guru or find a spiritual guru that definitely connects and resonates with your intuitive development and your intuitive trust. This kind of seed planting at this particular time, root chakra and heart chakra, is extremely powerful because, as you may know, the root chakra is ruled by Saturn, and Saturn is conjunct Ketu and the south node in the western. This is a very karmic placement. So acknowledging that MDT contract is going to allow you to have more self-compassion in the sense of not blaming yourself for it as much anymore, not feeling so ashamed of your past because you didn't know it. You were unaware. And until recently, perhaps in a great deal of denial about it. Because we see integrities in your shadow position. So that would indicate it's just starting to come up as you're just starting to get a sense that all is well. So this self-compassion is showing us the present state of your ego-soul alignment, which is why your soul wants to do this work position. We have Nefertiti. Nefertiti is the wife of Akhenaten, the first world ruler to implement the worship of the one God. Own your beauty is what your soul's message is to you. And you've probably been downloading this for quite a bit of time. If you haven't, certainly you will be during this balsamic moon right before this Aquarius Pisces new moon. You are going to truly begin to get a sense, if you haven't already opened up to it, and if you do open up to it, you probably already have started to recognize parts of yourself that are extremely beautiful. Speaking of release, which is what the South Node is about, that's fifth house energy for you. This is the Sagittarius and the Vedic Capricorn in the Western placement of this South Node energy conjunct Saturn. Again, this karmic, relational, seventh house type energy that's working with this fifth house in the square of resolving this internal conflict for you at this time, having to do with you owning your beauty, despite there being any other acknowledgement of it, especially from your mother or mother figures or people that you have projected your needs, your maternal needs onto, which is what we do with MDT. We assign our maternal needs to others throughout our lives until we realize that it's really us that needs to be healed, and no one can do that for us, as you are realizing at this time. And so your soul wants to do this work because it knows that you're ready to own your beauty. This is the throat chakra waxing gibbous moon card. This is all about your higher expression of your truth, this integrity, sharing it with the world. It's about taking your power back and showing it to the world. So again, those people in your life who may not acknowledge as you have, or that you are beginning to do your MDT and sharing your truth in loving ways, or just living your life and showing them that you are moving beyond MDT. Many of us are just beginning to move through MDT. That is a very powerful form of owning your beauty at this time, articulating who you are, being sure that you're revising a sense of who you are, not based on the shame, blame, and guilt of mama drama trauma, but on your truth of knowing that you are a dearly loved child of the great Mother, Father, God, who is never judged, condemned, or left alone. This may be very sudden energy for you, and by the full moon it may come across as a new way of being as you move forward in 2019. This is a wonderful, wonderful month for MDT work, because how your soul wants to do it is by centering. And so you're going to have this time emotionally and intuitive to realign and recalibrate with this sense of being. Tara is the basically last card of the minor arcana of the deck. It is the third eye waning gibbous moon card, the sharing and thanksgiving of our intuitive downloads. And of course, what she has downloaded from Great Mother, or Glinda the Good Witch, who meets her as she is trying to make her way back home from the land of Oz, is to share with her. It is time for her to click her heels 3 times, body, mind, and soul. That's how your soul wants to do this work. Again, this Cancerian energy, we've just moved out of the Vedic Cancer North Node. And so this would indicate that on a soul level, with that energy, you have just started to connect the dots between your personal centering. Because remember how Dorothy got her wishes fulfilled was through Great Mother. And the others, they got them fulfilled through Great Father Oz. And remember, the others, the Scarecrow, the Tin Man, the Lion, they were aspects of her. The mental aspect, the emotional aspect, okay, the self-esteem, the psychological aspect of her. That's where we do the work, the conscious work. That's Great Father energy. The unconscious, what these readings and messages from Great Mother points to and brings our attention to, it's what's going on underneath that. And so how your soul wants to do this work is by you becoming more actively conscious of what body, mind, and soul work that you're doing in order to own your beauty. Sometimes it's a process, and it seems like that may be a process for you at this particular time that you are ready to take on because you have enough self-compassion to embrace it. By doing this work, your most likely outcome will be Baba Yaga. This is a huge shift for you, Leo, Virgo, Moon sign people. And I'm happy. You need it. It's time. The world needs to see you shine with that beautiful Leo Vedic moon. Oh my gosh. It's so fun. That's how you download intuitive information. It's very fun. It's very gregarious. It's very generous. And that Virgo emotion sometimes has a hard time implementing or trusting that intuition because it can sometimes be at odds with the veracity of the adeptness that Virgo has with precision and with being very, very clear. Leo is just very trusting that sun. It's just so bright, and Virgo being ruled by Mercury, more mercurial. It moves, but it wants to sift through and process. Baba Yaga, as your outcome, is telling you that throat chakra energy ruled by Mercury. Now we're talking chakras, we're talking Vedic astrology, and so we're talking the Vedic Virgo energy, but still it is a confirmation that this new moon that may seem like you're about to go into a dark night with all of this, as Dorothy the Three went into the dark forest before they approached the witch's castle. The wild woman energy that enables you to go on despite the fear, that courageous energy, that crazy energy of doing things that you haven't done before so you can get things that you haven't received before, is what you will receive by the end of this lunar cycle. By the 28th of this month, when Mercury goes direct, that mercurial energy in Virgo and in Gemini, which is where the North Node is at this time in Vedic, is going to be a very quick energy building up to July 2nd. And it's an energy that you will be able to take along with you what you have learned this lunar phase in healing mama drama trauma through owning your beauty. You have a lot of it, and I can't wait to see it. Please share what your experiences are throughout this lunar cycle, regardless of when you have watched this video. I'm very interested to see. There's a lot going on with your cosmic calculus. Thank you so much for watching, sharing, and liking. But above all and most of all, remember, Great Mother loves you, and I do too.
Great Mother speaks.
I am Great Mother, Holy Spirit, Yin, Divine Mother, Cosmic Womb, Deep Space, the Moon, Dark Matter, the Void, the Black Hole, Hathor, Isis, Diana, Mami Ishtar, Kali, Mammy, and Mother Mary.